Hello everybody, my name is Dragan. Welcome back my channel Health Fitness 1047. Here is the episode new. Follow me.
On the opening of the Canadian Parliament by King Charles III, a deeply symbolic event in the country's politically sensitive historical context. In a solemn and emotional ceremony in Ottawa, King Charles III, accompanied by Queen Camilla, officially opened the new session of the Canadian Parliament. The event was full of traditional rituals, horse-drawn carriages, guard of honor, cannon salutes, cheering crowds and the flying of the British flag. The event was seen as a brief but strategic visit, his first as king to the North American country, after succeeding his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Notably, this is only the second time in history that a Canadian king or queen has opened Parliament, the last being in 1958. In his speech delivered in both English and French, King Charles emphasized the history and Indigenous people who once inhabited the land where Parliament sits, a gesture of political acumen in an attempt to heal historical wounds. In response, some MPs were moved to the point of exclaiming, "God bless the King." 1. A symbolic gesture amid political turmoil, the event took place shortly after controversial statements from the U.S. President, who hinted at annexing Canada as the 51st state, a statement that, while not official, has raised concerns among Canadians. In this context, the presence of the King, the symbolic head of state under a constitutional monarchy, is a powerful affirmation. Canada is a sovereign nation, with its own identity, and not something to be traded or bought. King Charles did not need to directly address the U.S. statement. He chose to remain deliberately silent, letting his actions speak louder than words. And in diplomacy, sometimes a carriage ride, a grand ceremony, and a bilingual speech can carry more weight than any statement. 2. Charles, a king who adapts and communicates symbolically. Long considered obscure as Prince of Wales, Charles has now gradually shaped a distinct monarchy style, focusing on reconciliation, ecology, and subtle political symbolism. In his speech, he respectfully mentioned the Indigenous peoples, which was not only a diplomatic courtesy, but also a response to the movement for independence, historical justice, and recognition of the sovereignty of First Nations communities. His use of both official languages of Canada, English and French, was no coincidence. It was a way to emphasize the unity of the multicultural country, and to ease the underlying conflicts about national identity. 3. The British royal family, still valuable for Canada? A big question is, does the monarchy still have a place in the hearts of Canadians? In recent years, especially after the death of Queen Elizabeth II, a part of the Canadian public has spoken out about severing ties with the British royal family, arguing that it is a remnant of colonialism. However, the warm welcome, the tears of MPs, and the shouts of "God save the King" suggest otherwise. Many Canadians still see the royal family as a symbolic part of their national identity, stability, and tradition. Although he no longer has executive power, the King's presence, at the right time and place, has reminded people that the title King of Canada is more than a formality. It is part of the constitutional foundation, a symbol of integrity, neutrality, and permanence. 4. Mark Carney, the new Prime Minister in the Royal Card. New Prime Minister Mark Carney, former governor of the central bank, invited King Charles. This was not just a ceremonial move, but also a political move. Carney, who was once considered dry and technocratic, took advantage of the effect of the royal visit to strengthen his legitimacy and public affection, especially in the early days of his term. King Charles III's opening of the Canadian Parliament is not just a ceremonial event, but a multi-layered message full of political implications. In a world polarized by populism, geopolitical pressures from the United States and China, and identity crises in many democratic countries, the skillful use of royal symbols to reaffirm sovereignty, tradition, and national unity is something that cannot be overlooked. And despite the controversy, the British royal family remains an important political and cultural tool for Canada, at least for now. King Charles, with his calm, politeness, and ability to connect cultures, seems to be proving that even a seemingly outdated symbol, when used properly, can become a strategic weapon.